and this is the presentation that I made for assignment one. The essay I wrote is just an examination of the zoning ordinance for the city of Oak Creek. So let's get started. So Oak Creek is a city in southeastern Wisconsin. It's directly south of Milwaukee and right on Lake Michigan. Its population was estimated to be just over 36,000, which is twice of what the population was in 1980. That makes Oak Creek one of the fastest growing communities in Milwaukee County and the state of Wisconsin. Oak Creek has seen quite a bit of economic growth in the past couple of years, thanks to new developments such as Drexel Town Square, IKEA, and Amazon. So the zoning ordinance for the state of Oak Creek is Chapter 17 of the city's municipal code, and the ordinance was adopted March 15th, 2022. So Article 3 of the zoning code contains 3 sections that I will be discussing in this video. The first is bulk and dimensional standards. Second is modifications, and thirdly is permitted and conditional uses. So the first section is bulk and dimensional standards. These are the regulations about how lots will actually be built and how buildings will be built upon them. The minimum lot sizes for single family districts are quite large. They range from just over 21,000 feet, which is half an acre, down to 8,000 square feet. The code also requires that buildings cover at least 30 to 50% of the lots in all single-family zoned districts. And the ordinance also requires the lots to be quite large. And the ordinance also requires setbacks that are quite large. They can range from 25 to 30 feet in the front and rear, and 8 to 10 on the side. Now, I believe the city wanted to control population density and preserve open space in the city limits. That's my guess as to why they're so big. But I think they hurt the city more than help it, because it restricts land availability and affordability, especially in highly desirable locations like the Drexel Town Square or like more dense urban development. This also leads to things like lack of housing diversity, urban sprawl, and inefficient land use in the city. It could also increase commute times and increase utility costs, just because things are so much farther apart from each other that it doesn't need to be that way. So the next section I'll be taking a look at is the modification section. So there are some features that are listed in the modification section that are exempt from restrictions that are already laid out in the zoning code. So what I have here is the exceptions of the modifications for building height. So things like chimneys, smokestacks, utilities, that sort of thing, they're exempt from the building height requirement, which I think makes sense. But they also include the term special structures in that section, which is, in my opinion, a little bit unclear as to what exactly that means. And I think I know why the city included that. I think they mostly just want to be like, make the zone code more comprehensive and like all inclusive and stuff. But I think the term special structures just opens the door to zoning abuse and potential favoritism, just allowing things to, just sneak by the zone process. There is also one other section, the modification section, I didn't particularly care for. It's the setback section. Again, some of it makes sense, but others do not, such as patios, decks, and fire pits. Um, the code makes a modification that the setbacks on the side need 5 feet and 10 feet at the rear of the property. It doesn't really make sense to me because it doesn't really like seem to really account for the health or safety of neighbors, especially if you burn something nasty in the fire pits. So overall, I think modifications kind of defeat the purpose of the zoning code, because if everyone can be exempt from the zoning code, then what's the point of the zoning code? So the last section I looked at was permitted and conditional uses. I didn't really have a problem with this section as a whole, but there's one aspect I didn't like. In all residential districts, attached housing units or dwelling units are considered conditional uses. Um, and this is true for all districts. Two-family, multi-family districts, attached dwelling units are also conditional uses. I think these should be permitted uses just to make it more attractive to potential developers inside the city, so they can make larger designs to make a lot of houses, like as you can see in the picture. Um, um, if they're all detached housing, that can lead to lack of housing harmony, which can make neighborhoods more disjointed and more unwelcoming. So what I recommend for the updates to the zoning code, again, like I touched on before, a lot of these codes aren't really conducive to dense urban design, which is more attractive for real estate developers. Um, so a couple of updates I recommend are to reduce minimal lot sizes and reduce setbacks, and to reconsider permitting conditional uses, especially in terms of attached style housing. And my other recommendation is to reconsider the inclusion of the modification section, and especially the term special structures needs to be reconsidered. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email.